joining me today for today's Lunchtime Revival Meeting. Our mystery guest today is Brother Josh Krupnick. Josh was in my youth group when I first came to community in 2001. He was an 8th grader. It is a blessing to see how he has dedicated his life into full-time Christian service. Josh is on staff down at Faith Baptist in Warren. He serves in the church and works with the teenagers as well as teaches in the Christian school. I'm so thankful for Josh's friendship. I appreciate his love for Jesus. Brother Josh Krupnick.
Hey, hope you guys are doing well. Pastor Jeff asked me to put together a short devotional for you guys. Most of you know who I am. For those of you who don't, my name is Joshua Krupnick. If you don't know me, you probably know my relatives. My claim to fame would definitely be my relatives. You guys probably know Paige, or Bobby, Wally, Addie, Grace, Wyatt. They're the popular ones in the family. They're definitely the good ones. And so, I grew up at Community. Pastor Jeff actually was my youth pastor for many years. After college, I actually came back and taught at Community for 2 years. And those who are seniors now, Paige's class, were in 6th grade when I left. So it's been a little while since I've been there. But hopefully this is an opportunity just to meet with you guys and you can learn something from it. I know life is a lot different than you'd planned on it being. Things don't always go the way we plan. That's what we're going to look at today. Most of you probably didn't plan on your school year ending the way that it has. Some of you probably like that. I know some of my students love getting up in the morning and rolling out of bed and clicking their computer screen on, and they don't even have to leave their bed. They're in school, but others it's been difficult for. It's not been the way that they wanted it. We're just going to look at it today. It's just a challenge from the life of Paul. If you look at the life of Paul, he as well went throughout life, and his plans were not always what God had intended for him. Paul grew up as a Jew who was trained in the law. He was a Pharisee, studied at the feet of Gamaliel. And yet God said, you know what, Paul, I have a different plan for you. And on his way to Damascus, on his way there to persecute Christians, God called him to be a Christian. He then wanted to go up to Jerusalem, but on his way there, everyone was afraid of him. They were terrified because he had been a persecutor of Christians. Then he wants to go and preach, and much happens. I'm skipping over a lot. One of the times he wants to go over into Asia and preach the message of the gospel there. But God told him no. God warned him in a dream and said, no, you are going to Macedonia, to Greece, to Europe. And God redirected his path. Over and over again, God kept saying, Paul, this is what I want. It wasn't what Paul always planned, but it was what God knew was best. We see that more than likely it wasn't Paul's plan to go to prison either. He didn't want to be cooped up in a cell. He would have much rather been out telling other people about Jesus Christ. But yet God said, you know what? I have a purpose for you there in confinement. In Paul, in prison, Paul was stripped of everything. We see, though, in the book of Philippians, Paul's letter to the church at Philippi, one of the major themes of that book is joy in every circumstance. Paul writes in chapter 1, even though I'm here in prison, God is using it in a great way for the message of the gospel to be preached. We see him say a very common verse, Philippians 1:20, and then definitely 1:21. It says, according to my earnest expectation and my hope, that in nothing I shall be ashamed. But with all boldness as always, so now also Christ shall be magnified in my body, whether it be by life or by death. And then here's the quote we all know, for to me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. In prison, Paul was stripped of everything, but yet he knew he could still live for Christ. That had not been taken away from him. Right now, many of you have been stripped of a whole lot of things. Some of you were looking forward to this summer and getting a summer job, to get some extra spending money, to go blow at Starbucks or something, I don't know. And yet, that job now seems like that might not happen. School has definitely been ripped away. The normal ending to the school year, the fun end of the year field trips, the fall sports or the spring sports season, everything is now put on hold. Friends who you used to be able to go and see and talk to every day, you maybe see over a video chat but You can't go and actually talk with them. Youth group, and it's fun, it's exciting. Youth activities. I know we've missed probably 6 activities already through having to miss the last month or so. 6 might be a little high, but we've missed several. But yet, God knew. And maybe he's saying, hey, I'm going to strip these things away because I have something I want to teach you. We see later, Paul gets in chapter 3 of Philippians, Paul makes this amazing statement. He says that the number one thing that he wants, he says he counts everything but dung, he counts everything as loss. Why? That I may know him and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings, being made conformable unto his death. At the end of the day, Paul said, sure, everything's been taken away, everything's lost, everything is not here, but yet I can still, in this circumstance, know Christ. Prison could not take that away from him. Quarantine can't take that away from you. So I challenge you as I wrap this up, how during this time can you expand your knowledge and fellowship and relationship with God? We don't really have the excuse, I don't have time for that. I'm too busy. Doing what? The challenge is the same for me. I now have the time to devote to getting to know my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So think through, what can you do today? How can you deepen that relationship? This may be exactly what God ordered to allow you to deepen that now. Have a great day.
The invitation is simple. How can you apply what you just heard to your life? I trust this was a blessing to you, and I look forward to tomorrow's mystery guest and what God has laid on his heart for us. Have a great day. God bless you.